Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2, with a player ranked #1 of the world by Dark. In the red, the final boss. It's Dark. Up against the rank 1 Protoss. In the blue, the mysterious MaxPax. In a best of 3 Protoss versus Zerg showdown, with Dark's controlled chaos against MaxPax's pixel-perfect Protoss. Before we get started, I'd simply like to ask you, beg you even, to smash that like button and maybe even subscribe. Jimmy, what are we quickly? 1,502 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And while either of these two are still playing, I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far, and hopefully a little bit of cheese will make it just a little bit better. Dark has taken both natcheries. He's expanded both to his own, a little bit more quickly, and to MaxPax's, which appropriately here on Amygdala is going to feel very weird, but 2 gates on the way. Zealot comes out. Will the probes be pulled down to help take this out beforehand? Because Dark, the probe got in. He knows, MaxPax knows, that there isn't a follow-up. There's not going to be roaches. There's not going to be a bunch of Zerg... Well, there could be Zerglings, but they're going to be slowlings at best, which is just not that intimidating. So, couple of depths on the way. Looks like they'll head straight across the map as the probe and Zealot tag team. Will he make Zerglings a... And so it begins. Well, here we go. A queen is on the way as well. Those 2 Zerglings gonna pop out. I'm pretty sure the Zealot Probe Buddy Cop combo should be able to take this out beforehand, but he's making more Zerglings, which is certainly going to complicate things. The Zerglings come out, gonna threaten the probe, the only thing that is malleable enough to maybe actually kill. And more this is escalating as Dark has fully committed. There's a Stargate on the way, but it's not done yet, and the queen is about to come out. The hatchery is not dead. Dark is buying a lot of time. There's some Zerglings in the main. Zergling speed on the way. Zerglings to greet it. But the... Weaver... Oh my... Where am I? Brenda! Hurry up! Hold up. Well, the queen is now brawling it out with the adepts. The adepts should beat the queen, but now that the zealot is dead, there's actually not that much to deal with this, and the Zerglings looking to surround the adepts back at home. The queen getting targeted, Morlings trickling out. Can we see an inject? A creep tumor. He targets the creep tumor, which keeps the queen alive for one more attack. The probe going, no! No! The probe, but gets a creep tumor with her dying breath. Oh no, I'm not exactly sure that's how that process works, but the Oracle comes in to ruin her life's work. That the hatchery is still going, and the adept in the wall doesn't have a lot of HP. Oh no! The Zerglings not quite able to slip through in time. The Oracle runs out of energy. Did he already use the energy recharge? There's not enough energy for it. How is this still happening? The Zerglings trying to come in again. He's gonna combo with the Broodlings to some extent. Energy recharge loads up the Oracle, and now, well, there's still an Overlord hanging out overhead, as they do. Dark is supply blocked. Not even exactly sure. Well, another Overlord will go down. The creep taking its sweet time receding. The Oracle will get into the main. There is a Spore, and a second queen is about to pop out, which will deny the Oracle entirely. Twilight Council's on the way for MaxPax, all on one base as he has his 3rd gate as well. Dark gonna go for the gold. The Zerglings chewing through the rocks, sharpening those claws. Meanwhile, Shady Bunch joined up with the, of course Glaive's on the way, but Oracle's overhead. The Zerg rocks are still not nearly through bleeding out. So 8 minutes is the timer. And this is one of those scenarios where we've been dragged into the chaos, where Dark thrives, but is also in kind of an awkward position. He has nothing that deals with this easily, and Glaive Adepts are only going to make it harder. Now, the Adepts complete the shade through. The Queen's on top of it. And without the Oracles in tow, well, the Zerglings are cut down even before the Resonating Glaives are completed. And a few more drones will die as Dark takes his more conventional third base. The drones, 6. Ends up getting 6 of them. For, well, 8 adepts have died in total. I'll be honest, it's kind of hard to tell exactly when and where. Meanwhile, transfuse, queen hold together, helded, no, holderid. Rocks, well, that work will be finished. +1 melee is on the way, but engraved adepts in any number. A dangerous quantity to deal with for Zerglings. Queens don't kill them particularly quickly. They're not too vulnerable to them, but we saw that a small version of that interaction already. As Dark is just going to expand with 40 drones and 4 bases to the gold. And if he can get that gold up and running, well, his economic prospects are looking incredible. But right now, it's looking a bit shadier, at the very least. As 10 adepts come across, 2 oracles overhead to make sure that no funny business is happening off the creep. And a whole bunch of Zerglings on the way. But that's like trying to counter flame with gasoline here, which doesn't really make sense. It's like trying to counter flame by throwing paper on it. Well, eventually you might be able to smother it, but it's gonna be painful, and a lot more things are going to be immolated. More adepts. Yeah, that one was better, but still not good. We'll be working on it. Edit that out, Jimmy. 5 drones dead so far. Oracle's full energy. Stasis, a real prospect. Or just kill the drones outright. Baneling Dust is on the way as Dark scrambles away from 2 of his hatcheries. He might even be able to take out... No! Oh, it completed as that... This seems to keep happening to Dark this game. The second before it died, it completed +1 melee attack. But those glaive adepts, a lot more potent than their unupgraded cousins. As 1 queen assassinated, Oracle's taking a lot of damage from the knitting needles. The adepts will be surrounded and ripped apart by the Zerglings, but for now, oof. And the adepts just diving into the natural. 3 more drones dead. Dark is down to 35. We're 8 minutes in. We're in a normal macro game, aka boring. Both these players would easily be above 70 workers now. But instead, they barely have 70 workers combined because of the combined efforts. Dark started the fire, but then MaxPax threw a bunch of paper gasoline on it, so here we are. Meanwhile, Spore Crawler in position, but the adepts on the wrong side, or the right side, really depending on who you're rooting for, of those golden minerals. The Zerglings trying to come back around, but a Stalker jammed into the wall in a perfect position to keep him out, and the Zerglings looking for the wraparound. Banelings crash it in, and finally, for once, the adepts will be cleaned up. But a stasis right out the corner here. I don't know if that could actually hit the queens. I'm not sure what the intent was there. As the Zerglings, Oracle lighting a bunch of them up. 9 more drones on the way. Energy recharge on a sentry. A 1 sentry 10 adept timing attack. What is this? Kind of band director looking... It's not really a timing attack. You can't just call everything a timing attack. This isn't 2010 and we're looking for clever ways to do StarCraft commentary. It's 2025 and we're still failing at the same thing. But Zerglings, adepts walling them out. As MaxPax has taken the northern third, I'm not entirely sure why, as that's the less common one, but maybe as a staging area for his own attacks. Either way, Roach Warren is on the way. We've got Banelings not rolling, waddling in. 3 probes dead. MaxPax 55, workers at 51. Adepts, queens, politely yet firmly. Okay, not so politely, asking them to leave. Meanwhile, that one Zergling, incredibly dead. But, looking for the wraparound. Banelings closing in and crashing into the adepts. Only the sentry may survive, somewhat amusingly. A couple more adepts. Nope, Zerglings get him as well. The hero sentry, a single Zergling. Well, what's left of the Zerglings trying to get into the natural, but the Stalker holds strong. You're not facing hero this time, Dark. MaxPax now opened up a 20 supply lead. He's managed to stabilize on 3 bases. He mitigated the damage. Honestly, I don't think he respected Dark's commitment, but the question remains whether he needed to. As he's managed to get 3 bases, plenty of Stalkers, Adepts to cover. Still an Oracle and a Stasis, triggers it with some Zerglings, but the only economic advantage that Dark has, the gold base, is about to be taken down as the Queens targeted as well. Stasis will keep the Banelings at bay, though not exactly diffuse the situation. Both players will be able to play around it. The Zerglings, for the 17th time, will try to get into the natural, and for the 17th time since the hatchery was taken out, they will fail. GG. That's it. Dark realizes that MaxPax has reached that critical mass. He's tried another angle, coming in from each side, but MaxPax holds the line and wins game number 1. Wow. What a hectic experience. The full commit on the proxy hatch. I think MaxPax did not expect him to do that. MaxPax is too used to playing the Serals or even the Rainers of the world. But Dark is in a different dimension, it feels like sometimes. But it wasn't enough, as MaxPax kept his cool. That was as always, some of the most calm, controlled Protoss. He didn't freak out, he didn't pull a bunch of probes. He made sure he covered all his bases, literally and figuratively. Like, the fact that it might seem a bit patronizing to compliment him for keeping a stalker in the wall. But here's the thing. The second ranked, or arguably first, depending on how you want to measure it, but I'd say second in terms of raw skill, Protoss player, Hero, is Dark's greatest nemesis. Hero is both his former teammate, at length, and also the only Protoss in the world with a positive win rate against him, including MaxPax. Maybe not recently, but overall. And Hero's most notorious aspect is Select All Army Syndrome, or SAS, if you would. And that means a not small percentage of games that Dark plays against the top-level Protoss are decided by Zerglings getting into the natural. Because Hero has a tendency to just drag those units a little bit out of position. The Zerglings get in, and despite this, he still has a positive win rate. But I think that's all mental, as opposed to mechanical. But MaxPax doesn't slip on those details. We're on El Dorado. Game 2. I have spoken. That's it. That's the end of the whole thought process. And many of my thought processes end abruptly. And then we swerve so quickly, you just don't even notice the change, ideally. But here we are. Another map rife with creativity. I expect MaxPax to batten down the hatches. Stargate, third base, blink, and +1. MaxPax is now the standard for Protoss. Well, Clem learning from MaxPax in Protoss versus Terran. But everything we've seen, just to take a side note there, everything we've seen from Clem as Protoss at the highest level against the best players, since Clem can't play himself, is pretty much really drilling down on what MaxPax does to beat him. And I've been saying for many years that if you really truly want some perspective, and it's one of those, like, I like to walk the walk instead of just talk the talk in the comments after liking and subscribing, but just play a little bit. My recommendation, if you're actually playing StarCraft, is play 3/4 of the time as your main race. Let's, for sake of argument, say it's Terran. And then 1/4 of the time, so you play 20 games a week. 15 games is Terran, and 5 games is whatever race you think is the most OP in Imba. So 5 games is Protoss every week. And now, the common wisdom at the pro level is that players are not able to keep up the mechanical skill required to play 2 races. I think Clem has found the perfect middle ground of saying, like, well, I can play Protoss with a higher mechanical skill level then I can play Terran versus Terran because it isn't nearly as reliant on mechanical skill, but so much. Now, is that an indictment of Kalem's playstyle and how he's almost entirely reliant on sheer, like, talent and speed? Maybe. But it's about, at the end of the day, it's about winning. And if you have a higher percentage win rate in Protoss versus Terran than in Terran versus Terran, that's just simple math. And speaking of, 1 Void Ray plus 1 Overlord equals 0 Overlords. Jimmy, I hope you're good at editing. We're doing editing this year. What do you mean I don't pay you for that? I don't pay you at all! Oracle. And then we had to fill those first 4 minutes, so the Oracle showed up one way or another. Queens? Brenda, when are we getting that range upgrade? What do you mean range upgrade? Do you think they're gonna upgrade our range? Have you been hallucinating? Those Void Ray, that Void Ray is real. It's not lost. Okay. Sorry, I blacked out for a moment. Twilight Forge Robotics Facility. All your most typical fixins here. As so far, a drone and an Overlord have been lost. A couple of Depths looking to sneak in. A whole bunch of Zerglings, but the Void Ray is on patrol. Is Dark actually going to bind out this side of the base? This, honestly, I think this is a first. So many players have just taken the back base here in this matchup on this map. Or in general on this map. I can't remember the last time I've seen someone actually just transfused a drone. What a play. Oracle. Yeah, burning through some of the 4th base. Might be able to take it out later more easily. Zerglings just running over on top. Good positioning for MaxPax, but a couple units kind of stuck out there. Making it easier for the Zerglings to get a wraparound on them. But the Oracle's backing them. Now we got a Hydralist Den with groovy spines for range on the way. Got charge and +1 for MaxPax alongside that Templar Archives, which is the most important tool for dealing with the sort of mass Hydraling composition. At some point, there are problems that only Storm can solve. And hopefully MaxPax doesn't run into any of those because he's not upgrading it. He's going for Archon, Charge Lot, Timing, which hits hard and fast. But Dark is already, I think this is again, possibly MaxPax being more used to facing your more conventional macro Zergs. As Dark is at 66 drones and he's like, now I'm building units. He is more than willing, as we've already established. Jimmy, MaxPax won the game. Stop showing bias. Sorry about that. He is more than willing to commit to an all-in situation. Well, the Archons obliterating a Hydra, taking out a Queen. Dark is up 15 supply. Storm is on the... Oh, he sees the Hydras and immediately starts Storm. So, quite a good indicator of his thoughts on the matter. But the Hydras are already on their way across. Hydra speed is closing in. Storm a long way off. A single stasis. Ooh, quite a good stasis force field there. But that could actually work out for Dark. And now the Hydra count is damn high. How many Templar? It doesn't really matter if he doesn't have the store. The Zerglings are about to come out. Warps in behind the army and then decides better of it. Oh, that Warp Prism is very important to keep alive. Without the Warp Prism to drag some of this army back. Well, Dark is just going for it. More stasis. Storm halfway there. Triggers the stasis with a couple roaches. And now +1 ranged attack is done. We still got 20 seconds on Storm. A few probes just stuck behind the Adept. Stasis catches a chunk of the Hydras. Force field catches the rest, creating a very weird scenario. Oh, one of the Archons could be picked off. The Queens take it out. MaxPax looking the other way. Zerglings into the natural. Recalls back home. Ends up losing another Immortal. The Warp Prism almost went down beforehand. Where the Templar Energy Recharge gives it 2 storms to work with, but MaxPax has already taken a lot of damage. Good storm to soften things up, but Dark has the Concave with the Roach Hydra on the bottom of the ramp, and he's not going to be giving it up easily. Charge lots charging down, as they do. Archons, their power underwhelming. 12 probes dead. And now Dark has the economy as well. Just overrunning. MaxPax tried to fight. Well, he didn't realize he was dealing with such a committed Zerg army. And now it seems like it's just going to be whittled down into nothingness. GG. MaxPax knows where we're going. And we find ourselves all tied up. Dark just hits that timing so sharply that, MaxPax was trying to take advantage. So if Dark was rushing to Hive, like every Zerg and their broodmother does nowadays, then that timing would have been pretty deadly, or at least damaging. Very likely he can kill the 4th base, catch Dark while he's droning up, getting 80 drones, working on a Lurker down on a Hive, but no! Dark just hits him directly with a Roach Hydra timing, straight out of the 2012 playbook. And it works out to great effect. That lack of storm, very, very apparent against that sort of timing attack. So, all tied up going into game number 3. We started things with a proxy hatch, followed with a mid-game timing. Are we going to continue the progression into the late game? We've seen exactly 0 motherships, and they don't have built-in cloaking devices. For some reason, the cloak only works on everything else. Maybe because the mothership is just so large you can't see anything under it. Like an umbrella. Or your mother. 3rd base is on the way. Well, 2nd base at the 3rd. As MaxPax, unlike some Protoss, is still intent on blocking the base. He's sending the probe out even like beginning of the game to make sure he can block the base. Because now that hatcheries cost 25 less minerals, it was already a very thin timing before when you send the probe out. But that timing just got a little bit thinner, unlike some other parts of the game. So, spawning pool's on the way. Dark just casually takes his 3rd. I think that's what inspired the proxy hatch in Game 1 as well, is MaxPax actually blocking his base. Dark has a tendency to take that personally, and take things all the way across the map. Probe. Poking, prodding. Slurping on the no, stop. Okay. Doing the mineral flirtation to try to bounce some of the drones off. Everyone with bases on their own side of the map, disappointingly, to start. Stargate. On the way. As, Dark gonna let that Zerg... Well, let the probe get away. You're not going to be able to kill the probe by the time the Adept comes out to play defense. So instead, trying to slip the Zerglings by, but MaxPax actually splitting the difference with his Adept. Notices 2 of the Lings. Dark notices he notices. And it appears Senpai is on the way across. Queen. This is a message from the Hatchery Owners Association. My name is Brenda. I don't care what your name is, but you're not allowed to be in here. Firstborn, first lost is what I always say. Brenda, they can't hear you. I don't think the Protoss have ears. I'm pretty sure you're wrong, Susan, but I don't care enough to find out. Sorry. Oracle, third hatchery, and soon MaxPax will attempt a third, but Dark will be there to greet him. Now, everybody coming together here. The Oracle comes in, says, "Get down, Mr. Probe." Probe just continues along its way, but the Oracle boxes out the Zerglings. I wonder if this is intentional. I thought for a second it was, but the Overlord is, depending on the angle, kind of directly in front. I know this was a Brood War strategy of actually hiding your tech in your buildings. Not nearly as effective in StarCraft 2, but hiding, or at least making it harder to notice things with the Overlords hovering over. I got my suspicions that MaxPax is not one to be fooled by things like that, but... Ooh, Oracle coming in. The Queen. Heard you was talking shit. I told you they had ears, Brenda! Sorry. Well, drones pulled to fight the Adept. 7 drones. This is becoming from... This is moderately to seriously concerning. As Dark is just now down 12 workers. He's building 5 roaches and 14 more lings. He's going all sorts of in right now. And the queens are traversing the map as the pilgrimage has begun. Dark will begin the assault, which will continue its efforts for the next minute or so to get here. But Oracles, plenty of energy, shield batteries on the way. Here come the roaches. As Dark might just head for the natural. Not like you can change the trajectory of the queens very quickly, but... Well, Oracles, one of them out of energy. How long on energy recharge? Another 20 seconds, and we've arrived! Oh, okay. The queens are at the natural now. And there's not that much in the way of defenses, even 3 queens. They might not be able to use the creep, as there is none here. Gotta be a little careful not to lose them, because if he ever loses enough queens that the Oracles can just take out the rest, well, actually, I think we may have just reached that point, as 3 Oracles, the Triumvirate, Corrosive Bow, trying to make life difficult, will end up losing. He takes out 1 Oracle, but more Stalkers coming in. Here come the Zerglings. Energy recharge was just used. Shield battery just now finishing. Zerglings on top of everything, but another Oracle comes out. And the Ravagers are being melted. Still so many Zerglings on the mineral line, though. Probes being used very well. No energy recharge means that a couple Oracle... Another Queen! Zerglings into the main base. Dark just took out the 3rd Nexus, and wait a second. That means he started drone production? Recharge 15 seconds. Needs it desperately. The Zerglings are looking to take out even more probes. That shield battery is still intact with some energy. Gonna go for the wraparound. Blink is not quite done yet, as MaxPax was going for your much more standard Protoss play, and Dark is all up in his main. And oh my. The natural is overrun. The Overlords are just gliding across. That's almost certainly a mistake, but Oracle recharged. MaxPax plummets to a 6-worker lead. As despite everything, a bit lackadaisical with the Overlord still floating across the map. The Stalkers may be able to take out 2 or 3 of them for effectively free. And Dark has only drawn the economy somewhat even. He hasn't taken the lead as he invested so much. Very importantly, including the queens, to come across the map. And now 4 more drones dead. Lights up another Oracle. There's not a lot of energy, but it doesn't take much to murder the drones. And again, MaxPax at a 12-worker lead. Hydra is done on the way. Dark droning as hard as he can, but the problem is that MaxPax already has Blink. He already has +1. He already has all these tools. All he needs to do is focus on building up his army. He has the Oracles to keep tabs on what Dark is doing, whereas Dark has to spend his drones and his money both to get tech and to get upgrades. You need Roach speed. You need Hydra range. You need Hydra speed. You don't need the Hydra lunge, and that's a long way off, but I digress. He's still building drones while he has to deal with these well-upgraded Blink Stalkers with Oracles in support. MaxPax has taken a lot of damage to Dark's very, very committed attack. But I fear that MaxPax has what it takes to turn those tables around. And right now, very clearly demonstrating. Oh, it's not even that close. There you go. More one-sided than a Mobius strip as MaxPax takes the series 2-1 and sends us directly into our bonus game. A decisive victory for MaxPax, fending off the intense cheeses. The only victory for Dark is that kind of off-tempo Roach Hydra timing. But now, a matchup that has become much more interesting with the new patch. Dark is back. Once again. Against a laser. We've seen a laser use mutas to great effect. I haven't actually seen Dark really play much ZVZ on the new patch. But mutas, I am reasonably sure. We've added this match, right? That mutas will be making a cameo appearance. And I love mutas. Mutas, completely unbiased, but my favorite unit in the game. And the only way we see them nowadays is in Zerg versus Zerg. So I'll take what I can get. And what I can get is Dark versus a laser. So, thank you for staying tuned, liking, and subscribing as we go into this match. MaxPax just, like, you could feel, at no point did it look like he was panicking or trying to, I think a lot of the reason Dark is so successful is almost this kind of immune response that his opponents have to his strategies. Like, overly freaking out to the point that you do almost more damage to yourself than Dark is doing to you. Even Clem is somewhat susceptible to that, as we saw in a recent series you should go check out. But you know what the production tab's gonna look like. The Zerglings, well, actually a laser's been doing some crazy multiple hatchery strategies as well. A laser might not have the mechanical prowess of some of the highest tier players, but he reminds me a little bit of a Gumiho, where he's willing to try new things. One, because they're cool, and two, because sometimes that's how you pull off a win against players who might have a little more mechanical prowess. So I look forward to what he's cooking up. Though, of course, Dark is dark. Hashtag deep. Hashtag dark. Queen's on the way. Dark chooses 2 Zerglings. A laser doesn't bother with them at all. The Zerglings this early, because you can always see what your opponent is doing. That's the weird part of ZVZ. It's this sort of like trust but verify sort of situation. You see about 90% of what they're doing at all times. You can see when Zerglings are coming out. You see when they're expanding. You got a pretty good idea most of the time of if they're walling off, going for roaches, stuff like that. But what they're actually doing with their larvae, exactly when they're teching up, and once any overlords get cleared out, when they're moving out, well, these can create some very significant blind spots. Wow. It is going to be a rush. Well, there's a lair on the way. He's going to get a roach one. He's got... Dark has already taken his third. Much more conventional Zerg versus Zerg. Getting your third base up. Getting the hatchery laid down. Making sure you have a decent economy going forward. So whatever a laser ends up doing with this lair has to counteract the extra production and potentially economy that Dark has by laying down that third hatchery. And so far, he's only taken one more guess, which does indicate... Now the question is, will it be a fake? He's going to make it look like roaches. Dark knows he's making it look like roaches. The only... Mutas. It's gonna be mutas. I knew there were mutas. I didn't know when or how. I had a good suspicion on where, but... Why is a bit more nebulous, but... Gonna back up, literally and figuratively, those queens with another Evo chamber. I mean, now there's video. He saw the lair. He sees that the roach warren is not upgrading. He sees that the evolution chamber is not. Oh, okay. It's a fake. He knows. There's no way he doesn't know. That is the most obvious fake I've ever seen. He knew the lair was done. If you're going roaches, you start that roach speed the split second the lair completes. You're on 2 bases. There's nothing else to be doing. There's no way Dark doesn't know that at least something of that isn't mass roach is happening. Did a laser actually go lair before? He's muta rushing before speed. This is pretty much the quickest you could ever get mutas without, like, sitting on 1 base, which you would never want to do with mutas because then you can only make, like, 4 mutas and you have to win the game with them, and good luck with that. More queens on the way. Dark not fully committed to the muta defense yet, but we'll see more once that lair completes. He has to have a very strong suspicion. Well, we see a Hydra Den immediately. He's building roaches. The mutas are about to pop out, so that's going to become a moot point momentarily. Yep. The mutas just fly right past. Dark, more queens on the way, a bunch of drones. The mutas flapping their way across the map. Not even entirely sure they have to flap their wings, but you know what? How do they fly in space? Meanwhile, takes down 1 overlord. Queen's trying to zone it out. More Ovies. The vision will be cleared up. So now Dark is in the himself about it. It could just be 7 mutas or so. Solid number taking out Ovies, threaten queens, and then boom, 200 supply of roaches. A laser though is committing. He's going to make more mutas. He's going all out. I'm not going to say all in because we're not quite there yet, but all out on the mutas. So what effect will that have? We'll just have to see. As Dark is not building a Hydra Den, he's building mass queens in response. He has not, he does, oh, those queens are gonna get ripped apart. 2 of them dead to Zerglings that got into the natural. Oh, somewhat ironic that Dark is the one who's suffering from not walling off his natural here after so many games attempting to break through, but a couple Zerglings at the edge of the main. Does he have a Bane Nest? He does. That is, like, literally the oldest trick in the ZVZ book. Did Dark not... I can't believe it's actually going to work. My god. This is like putting a pylon in your opponent's main with a probe sort of level. This is Gold League Wings of Liberty level. But he's completely distracted here. Dark, not paid any attention, ends up losing maybe 5 or 6 more. I think those were just pre-queued up. He wasn't even looking at them. Probably not even expecting them to get anything done, but here we are. Dark still has a worker lead, though, because going for 2 base muta really eats into your economy. Dark has suffered a lot of losses, but he's also mined another 1,000 minerals, though 1,200 less gas, which it does make some sense when you think about it. That means those minerals going into drones to that 3rd base. Well, also mutas here, but the muta count, or queens rather, but the muta count is getting real dangerous. This is nearly a murder of mutas, which I'd put around 20, which is pretty much capable of one-shotting almost everything. Maybe 2-shot on the spores. Now that he has +1 flyer attack as well. Baneling speed is on the way to have some sort of ground support. Hive tech for a laser. Hive tech for a laser? Is he rushing lurkers? Just going to skip entirely that phase? Which could be... You know, how does Blinding Cloud work? So, if you use Blinding Cloud on Hydras as they're fighting mutas, technically if the mutas are directly above them, they can still shoot at them. But it removes most of the advantage. Otherwise, I'm not sure. Is he going to go... Ultras? Because he's not building the lurker. There it is. There it is. I think he was just busy microing. Lurker Den is the most obvious, but maybe we're getting real wild out here. Not quite. Burrowed roach. Oh, he spotted the tunneling claws upgrade with the little fancy spikes on the top of those roaches. More tunneling claws roaches working around. A laser on roach defense duty now. How the mutas have been relegated. But he is teching up, and meanwhile, the baneling's just rolling through the mineral lines. Hilariously so, manages to block out the second wave, but loses 50. Dark is down to 44 drones against a laser's 87. I think that may have done the damage. Dark, now, a laser's building a dozen spines, 2 spores. Well, I don't actually know where Dark goes from here. He can't really move out. The muta count is too damn high. He doesn't have a hive, so he can't go Vipers. No infestors on the field. It feels like a laser has managed to carve out more than enough space for himself to go for that endgame unit composition, which is going to be Mass Lurker. And then if needed, I'm sure he can go Viper. Transfuses on the Spore, but does get taken out eventually. Working on the Extractor. I'm not... There's a lot of mutas here. A bit unwieldy. Lurkers. Roaches still trying to sneak through, but lurkers are already on them. The backbone of the defense. Those spine crawlers in position. Maneuvering as well. Hive is about to be done for Dark. A laser doesn't want to risk overextending because Dark still has better upgrades on the ground. Technically, a larger army as well. It's just, well, that army is mostly roaches. Just not very good against Mass Lurker. And by not very good, I mean actually really, really bad. The lurkers are getting closer. He already has the range upgrade done. The queens. Most of the anti-earth this stage. Moving forward yet again. Knocks out another lurker. But the mutas are just fighting. The spore crawlers are doing a lot of damage there. But not enough. The mutas are, I think, winning the fight. Hydras for a laser's army. The mutas have been thinned out dramatically. But he also took out the majority of the queens. And by that I mean every single queen. Ravagers to take down the lurkers. The lurker count got thinned out. A laser maybe a little bit too forward here. And Dark chooses the Hydraless Slurch upgrade. Nanomuscular Swell is on the way. And in this scenario where he's trying to outmaneuver lurkers, that might actually be the ticket. Another Hydra gets taken out on the way across. Zergling counter, though. Dark could certainly use lurkers of his own. But a laser. Oh, the Vipers! The Vipers getting caught by the mutas, which they're supposed to counter here, but the mutas will eventually be taken out. He burrows with the drones, which actually saves them. This is getting kind of crazy. It was already a little crazy, but I'm upgrading it to kind of crazy. Couple mutas in the main getting obliterated by spore crawlers. Will eventually be taken out, and it's not like a laser has a lot of supply to throw away. Lurker done for Dark, as we're going to end up in a very similar spot. But now Dark has the Vipers, which is quite important here. Blinding Cloud, but that won't save you from the lurkers. He could yank the lurkers into his own army, but I think he might just have to give up the gold. Oh no! It appears some more banelings rolled through into the third base and took out 12 more drones. Banelings don't care if you're burrowed either. Technically, you could just detonate them right on top, even without detection. Dark consuming the hatchery, which is about to be under fire from the lurkers, which seems a bit risky, but he's running low on options. If he doesn't have lurker range, he can't even compete with the laser's lurkers. Counterattack. The roaches take out the hatchery. Tunneling claws, keep him intact. A laser's up 191 to 149 supply, but the army supplies are almost even because a laser's at 80. He's making 6 more spines, 2 spores. He's supplementing his army with the massive amount of crawlers. Which, especially when you're down on upgrades, can be very helpful. He has the money. He's at 97. How did his drone count go up? Okay, I know the methodology, but... 96 drones. The only liability here for a laser is that his army might not be large enough to compete with Darks. He can replace, but if Dark actually maxes out, he's gonna have like 40 more army supply of very similar units, which is enough to maybe reach that critical mass where you could just outright win the game. But, of course, a laser has so much economy. He's grabbed so much of the map. I don't know, Kev. This seems like not an ideal fight. A bunch more Hydras on the way in. Hydra's not so great against lurkers themselves. No one knows better. As Dark boxes out of his northern base. A laser has most of the map now. Dark stuck on 4 bases. The army supply is about even, but he's yanking Vipers. Get over here. There's good Vipers and bad Vipers. And the only way bad Vipers are countered are with the good ones. Yanks in another Viper. The lurkers are closing in. And the laser is tightening the lurker base noose. Dark has been outmaneuvered. And I think a laser is closing in for the kill. The lurkers dunk down, slicing through, blinding cloud. Trying to reposition, but the Hydras, taking out the lesser Hydras. And the Vipers could be chased down as well. He doesn't have Hydra Swell, but GG. A tough day for Dark here at the Zerg offices. But I think an entertaining day for us, which at the end of the day is the ideal one. So, congratulations, Laser, on that great demonstration. MaxPax on taking him out as well. Europe comes out ahead today, and so do the fans. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope these games made your day just a little bit better. And if you got the means and motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon. Thank you to our new mules, Dor K and Mario N, which mules are more money, as you know, and probably complained about in the comments at least once or twice. But either way, I still hear liking and subscribing is free, at least for now. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay tuned.